I literally never know how to start these. I sit here for 3 minutes just staring at the camera before I actually start talking. Hi, hello, welcome. My name is Sarah and this is Wicked Reading. So today is March 25th, it's Saturday, and we're gonna start a new reading vlog. This one is probably gonna go on for a little bit longer than I typically do because I'm going to start and finish a new fantasy romance in this one, and hopefully get another book. I do like to get 2 books in per vlog just so there's a little bit more going on in it, and I do actually have a lot of stuff going on outside of reading, so there might be some extra little fun clips of normal everyday life in this vlog too. So reading plans. So I'm super excited because this is such a hyped up fantasy romance, and I have been anticipating starting this book and finally reading it for so long now, and that is Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. So this has to do with our main character, Tysania, and she is, I think she's like a slave, and she pretty much just needs to escape slavery. She kills somebody important, and then she joins a group called the Orders, which is an organization of magic wielders strong enough to destroy her former masters. And then there's also a romance aspect to this book as well. So it's just kind of a fun fantasy romance. I'm super excited because it's super hyped up. The naked cover of this book is so pretty too, which is so exciting because when I read hardcovers, I read without the dust jacket on, and it's so much nicer when there's actually still something pretty on the cover. So yeah, we're gonna start this today. I don't know how much I'm gonna get through. We do have a date night planned tonight, so we're gonna do that too. Yeah, we'll see what else we get into. I will update you guys when I get probably about 100 pages into this. As far as the second book goes, once I finish this, I don't know yet. I'm not even gonna try to pick one out because knowing me, if I try to pick one out now, I'm going to end up being in a totally different mood by the time I finish this. So I'm not gonna try to pick out what book I'm gonna read next, but it's probably gonna be in the horror genre, so expect that. I tend to flip back and forth between different genres as I finish books. So this is a fantasy romance, so I'm probably gonna dive into either like a horror or just something else that's not fantasy romance. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but for now I am actually going to start reading a little bit and see how far I can get into it, and then I'm probably gonna end up getting hungry pretty soon, so make lunch and we'll just see how this day goes. We're really playing it by ear today, so I will update you guys when I can. So I have some packages that I'm gonna open with you guys, and they are books. So I did a huge order. Well, it's not huge, that's dramatic, but I did a pretty decent order on Barnes & Noble. And actually they sent like another one in a separate thing because they had a buy one, get one half off sale on the manga. Guys, oh my god. So like I couldn't not buy anything because manga is so hard to get on sale. So of course I bought a bunch of volumes of Yona of the Dawn. Now I held myself back because it's really difficult for me to spend a lot in one sitting, so I limited myself to spending under $100. So here's how they're packaged in here. Okay. Oh my, like first of all, Hawk on the front cover of this one, I I freaking love Hawk, okay? He's my absolute new crush now. Let me put these in order. Well, let me open this one too before I go through them all. Ooh. Hello. Here we go. Oh, that one's such a cute cover. 20, 21, 22. Okay. Ooh, I'm so excited. Yay, so I got volumes 12 through 22 from Barnes & Noble. That being said, you'll notice volume 18 is missing. So they were sold out of volume 18, so I just went to Amazon and I got volume 18. Okay, so let's go through all the covers. If you don't care, go ahead and skip through this, but I care. So here's our girl Yona, volume 12. I love looking at the color photos. 13. 14. 'Ooh, this one's cute. 15. 16, my boy Hawk. I freaking love him. He's so stinking cute. 17. 18. Aw, 19. If you know, you know. I love him. 20. 'This one's so cute. I love the colors of this one. 21. 22. Like a little AO. He's so stinking cute. Okay. So yeah, that's it. It was just a bunch of Yona of the Dawn volumes, but I'm so excited to have these. I freaking love this manga series so much, and that's it. Period, point blank. You should read it. I love it. Okay, so now that that is out of the way, I should have grabbed my book. I'm not 100 pages in yet, so I'm not even gonna like give you guys my thoughts yet because I don't really have any yet. So I'm going to continue reading Daughter of No Worlds today, and my goal is to get to page 150, so hopefully I can do that. We'll see. And yeah, I think that's kind of it. It is 11:16. I don't know if Panera, can you get bagels from Panera all day? Because I've kind of been craving an Asiago bagel from Panera, so I might do that. And yeah, just gonna read. Okay. I'll come back if I end up doing anything else. Hello, so reading update. I am on page 132, chapter 17. So I'm definitely not done reading for the night, but I wanted to give you guys a reading update really quick. It's good. I'm enjoying it so far. So most of the beginning is pretty much just what the synopsis says. It really kind of immediately transpires what the synopsis kind of gets at. And our main character, Tisanya, she is a slave and she is working under I don't know what he's like considered, but he's a really powerful man in the city that he's living in, which is called Threll. And I don't know if he's considered like, he's not a king, but they don't really call him anything in particular, but he definitely kind of is in charge of that city. And she is his slave. she ends up killing him, which we know that from the synopsis. It just says that she kills somebody powerful in there, but it literally happens in the first like 20 pages, so I don't feel like that's a spoiler. So that happens, and so she has to flee because obviously that's a no-no. So she is actually considered fragmented. So what that means is she is like part Beltane, and this society I talked about called the Orders, it is made up of two kind of magical, I guess, races, if you want to call it that, like two magical types of people. One is the Valtane, and they are very noticeably super pale, like white/silver hair, very distinct looking, and they have a lot of powers in terms of kind of internal things. They can read people's minds and can like potentially control their minds, stuff like that. And then there's this other group of magical beings called the Solari, and they are very much, they look just like normal people, but they have a lot of external types of magic, so they do a lot with like fire, and they're kind of like symbolized by, I think, like the sun, and the Voltane or Valtane or something are symbolized by the moon. So she is fragmented and she is part Valtane. So there's that. And I have a feeling where that kind of little tidbit of information is going to go, but I won't tell you guys my theory because I'm not going to say whether or not it's true anyways, because no spoilers, hello. But I do have an idea where that's probably going to lead to. But anyway, so she kills him, has to flee, so she runs away and wants to go to the Orders because she is part Valtane. She wants to be able to train with them, and she thinks that by training with them and getting more control over her magic and having the connections to these people will help her be able to potentially free the rest of the slaves, particularly in the city she's coming from. So that's kind of like her goal, is to be able to free her friends and other slaves and stuff. But before she can join the Orders or be considered a member of the Orders, she has to go through an apprenticeship. So through that we meet Max, or his full name is, I have to read it because I say it wrong in my head every time it comes up on the page. His full name is like Maxentarius or something like that, but every time I read it for some reason I'm like Maximilian in my head. But no, his full name is Maxentarius, but he just likes Max. He thinks that name is ridiculous. But so it's like a situation of very much reluctance. He does not want to take her on as an apprentice. He himself no longer wants to be part of the Orders. Something has happened where he pretty much just like disdains this society now. He doesn't want to be associated with it, but he is kind of put in a position where he needs to take her on, and she has to go with him because all the other people have already been matched, so he is said to be like the only other person that could train her. So they are matched up, and he is very much against it at first, but she is nothing if not persistent. So now she is kind of like training to take on this like test that the Order does to, I guess, like advance her to the next level or something like that. So right now it's kind of like a lot of training, and we're being hinted at a lot of political things due to the fall of Esmaris. There is potential like war brewing, but nobody's really like talking about it. She's just kind of hearing like whispers of it. We are starting to get a little hint at Max's past and his potential ties to the politics, and we're getting a little bit of the politics, how it functions in our new city that we're in, which is called Ara. I didn't say that. Or Era. I don't know. I'm probably pronouncing all of these things incorrectly, so I apologize. You can let me know how to pronounce them if you wish to. That is how I'm pronouncing them in my head currently until I hear anybody else say anything else. So we're in this new city. She had to like learn a new language and stuff, but she was like prepared. Like her plan was to go to the Orders for a very long time, so she was already like studying on them, their history, and like the language that they speak. So that's kind of fun too. It adds a little fun dynamic where she's fluent, but there's still some moments where there's like kind of lack of translation, which I think just adds a fun dynamic to dialogue and it keeps you a little bit more engaged. So I do like that little thing in there. I will say I heard how like beautiful and brilliant Carissa Broadbent's writing is, and while I'm enjoying the writing, there's like nothing that's like holy shit mic drop moment or anything like that. So hopefully, I mean, like, I'm not liking it, but also just with how much people were talking about how beautiful her writing is, I guess I expected a little bit more very lyrical, flowery things, but we are very early on. It may end up getting more deep and much more beautiful type writing. Like I said, it's not bad writing. It's just based on what other people were saying, I thought it'd be a little bit more like I'd be wanting to annotate and highlight immediately already. I am tabbing, but it's really not too much. Not too much so far. I'm just kind of keeping tabs of like the politics and the history and some little things that I like of her and some of like kind of Max's character things. He's got a few little fun, quirky character things that I like. There's definitely much more to learn about Max and about like the world in general, and I'm really interested to see where it goes. I am invested, which is great. So yeah, that's all I got so far, and I will continue reading a little bit for the rest of the night, and I will update you guys when I have more things to say and more thoughts. Okay, so reading update. I just finished part 1 of Daughter of No Worlds, and I'm about to start part 2. It is page 279. To summarize, I am living, loving, laughing. I am so enjoying this book. Forget what I said before, the writing is beautiful and I am just like totally in love with Max and Tisana's dynamic. I just really love their dynamic. I'm hoping it's like slow burn right now, and I'm hoping it continues that way. I like specifically used my slow burn bookmark because I was hoping and manifesting it would be more slow burn style, because that's the type of style I like. So far has been, they're like friends, and then there's moments of like kind of tension, like wait a minute, you're actually like really good looking. So it's just like, it's so good. I love the tension with them and just like the friendship of them, and I love the two characters individually. And the chapter I'm about to start now, going into part 2, we're gonna start to get Max's POV, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait. So far it's all been Tisana's POV, and I freaking love just like the symbolism. Like her chapters have like a little butterfly over them, and his are now going to have a little snake over them, which I think is just such a lovely little added touch to the book. I am also really enjoying the magical elements of this book. Some of the ways that the magic works is really interesting. We have a secondary character named Samarin, and the way his magic works is really interesting and also grotesque and disturbing, and I'm loving it. It's reading really fast. I'm hoping I can finish this by the end of the month, which I have. So today, tomorrow, I have 4 days left of the month. It is March 28th currently. I do think that I will be able to finish this. Right now, I don't want to like speak too soon and like jinx it, but right now it's giving 5-star vibes. 4.5, 5-star, like upper tier vibes, and I'm super excited. Been really enjoying it. I'm really enjoying the character exploration. We are now getting much deeper, interesting writing. I think we just had to kind of get into our characters a little bit more, and some really interesting conversations are coming up. Some really interesting introspective character work is happening. So I will catch up with you guys when I am closer to the end. So I have officially finished Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. Gorgeous cover, love it. So, final thoughts. I am giving it a 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed Max and Tasana's dynamic. It's kind of like reluctant, like acquaintance slash trainer, and then they like turn friends, and then from there it becomes a little bit deeper. But I really just enjoyed that they kind of became friends. I guess it's a little bit close proximity-esque, and there's like a hint of like grumpy for Max in the beginning, but like it's totally like not true grumpy. It's like kind of fake grumpy. But I just really liked their dynamic. I liked that they were friends, and it kind of like blossomed from there. And I really liked them as individual characters too. So when I started part 2, we also started getting chapters of Max's POV. And I thought it was really interesting. I enjoyed it. I don't think it like brought the book over the edge for me, but I'm glad that we had some POVs of him. So overall, the romance was good. I enjoyed it. I'm not like over the moon about it, but I thought it was really nice and sweet, and I liked their dynamic. Okay, moving on. So the world building, I feel like in this book is pretty minimal. There's no like map or anything, and we know at least of a couple areas, and the politics is kind of really confusing too, because we have our one area called Ara or Era, I don't know. And that is where the orders are, and the towers that the orders are in are there. And that territory is ruled by a queen. But then there's like other areas that I think are just kind of ruled by lords. But I don't think that I don't know, it seems like the queen doesn't actually deal with those areas. I don't know. So the politics and like how the world is set up and territories was a little bit confusing, but I think that will most likely start to make more sense in the second and third book. I think it could be intentionally confusing, because towards the end of this book and going into the second book, it's definitely going to start leaning into the political aspect. There's definitely a lot of political scheming going on that involves trying to take over and rule certain territories. So it might become a little bit more clear with the next book. Like I said before, I do really like the magic system. It's not like totally clear. Like it feels a little bit like a free-for-all. Like there's no clear kind of rules on how the magic system really works. There's a little bit of it. They do explain a little bit how like a Solary and like a Valtane, how they differ and all of that jazz. But yeah, I don't know, but I did really like it. Like that's not really a knock. It's not a high fantasy. It's definitely more romance fantasy. So it does lean more towards kind of like character and character dynamics versus kind of like world and magic. So that was to be expected anyways, but I just thought I would share that with you guys. And then one more thing about the book that I really liked, there is this aspect of a weapon of sorts that is used in this book, and I just thought it was so interesting. I have never read a book where a weapon like this was used, and I don't really want to say too much because I think it's just really, it caught me off guard. I didn't really expect it, but I thought it was so cool. It's a really interesting aspect. It has a lot to say about what it means to be in charge of your own destiny, in charge of your own body. We have a few characters that are dealing with feeling like they don't have control over their body or what happens to them, or You know, stuff kind of like along those lines, and they all deal with that in different ways, and it manifests in different ways. It didn't end in a way that was like, I need to immediately pick up the second book, but it did end in a way that I'm interested and excited to eventually get to the second book. So next, I am going to try to get one more book in for March. And so to do that, I'm going to read a short book, and I am going to start Come Closer by Sarah Gran. This is a horror novella. It's only 166 pages, so hopefully I can get through it between today and tomorrow. Tomorrow is March 31st. This is a horror novella that deals with the trope of demon possession. So yeah, that's it. I really like that trope. I'm excited to get into it. A lot of people told me in my book haul that they read this and they absolutely loved it, so I'm looking very forward to it. So I'm going to start that. It's rainy and gloomy and gray, so I am just going to bundle up, open up my book, and drink my coffee. And that's going to be the rest of my night, just relaxing and reading. So I will update you guys when I can. So I finished Come Closer by Sarah Gran, and I am sad and disappointed and a little bit nervous to report that I was not in love with this story. I really enjoyed the premise of it, and there were aspects that I really enjoyed. It brought a sense of everydayness to this idea of possession, which I thought was very interesting, and there was some very vivid, cold imagery throughout that I thought was well written and good. But overall, I just did not connect to the character, and I really need to connect to my characters, and I just didn't in this one. So I found myself not really caring during some parts, and I don't know, I feel like a book like this, I maybe like a longer version to really get in depth with everything. And this one was just a little bit too boom, 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 done for me. And yeah, so I just really didn't connect with the book that much. It wasn't poorly written, and it wasn't a bad story, and I just didn't connect to it. That's it. So I did give it a 3 out of 5 stars. I'm almost leaning towards a 2.5 because I feel like it's a little bit forgettable. It really did not leave an impression on me, but I don't know. Anyways, moving on. So I am ready to pick out my next book, and I'm going to go a little bit rogue here. Every book that I have read so far has been on my spring TBR, so I feel like I've done really good at sticking to my TBR. That being said, I am going to go off the path a little bit and read a book that wasn't initially on my TBR, but I received it in my March Nightworms package, which I have a video of me unboxing it along with my Fairy Loot package on my channel. But it does interest me, so I kind of feel like going this route. So we're going to start Mothered by Zoj Stage. I have no idea how to say this author's name. I'm so sorry. But she is the author of Baby Teeth, which I haven't read, but it was on my radar for a while. So I'm looking forward to reading this, because if I do like this, or even if I don't, I might still check out Baby Teeth. But if I do like this, will probably be quicker to check out Baby Teeth. But the premise of this book is we are following a mother and a daughter, and the mother is moving back in with her daughter, who is now stuck at home on lockdown during a pandemic, and they have a very tumultuous type of relationship, and there is talk of, what's the daughter's name? Grace? Yeah. There's talk of Grace having nightmares about her disabled twin sister who died when they were young. And yeah, there's some interesting things that are mentioned too, like Grace catfishes people. Jackie makes an earth-shattering accusation against Grace. Jackie's the mother, Grace is the daughter. So it's going to be very mother-daughter dynamic exploration. We'll see how it is. It did just come out this year, so it is a new release. So we'll start that. I don't know when though. Today is kind of like one of those days where I feel like I should do a lot of things and I kind of want to do a lot of things, but at the same time, I'm paralyzed by the options. And I just sit here thinking I should do all these things, but then also realizing I only have limited time in the day, but then not doing anything and letting the time just slip through my fingers and just having done nothing that I wanted to do because I just couldn't make up my mind what to do. If that makes sense, if you relate to that. So I think what I'm going to do is try to give myself some time blocks to do some things that I want to do and things that I feel like I need to do. So I'm going to do some editing for an hour, and then I'm going to read for an hour, and then I'm going to like watch a show and then read again and kind of like flip through things instead of feeling like I need to do all of one thing. If that makes any sense. I don't know if anybody relates to that, but I do have issues sometimes with just picking something to do and feeling guilty about not doing other things. I don't know. So that's the game plan for today. So I'm going to start doing some editing and we'll see. We're just going to start something, do it for a little bit, and start something else and try to get through a few things. Okay? Okay. So it is the next day, and I did not read a single page yesterday. So I did get some editing done. I actually got a lot of editing done. I only have a little bit left to do today. And then me and Angelo ordered pad thai. And then we just sat on the couch and watched Love is Blind for the rest of the day until I had to go to bed. So I did not read it all yesterday, but I did read today. I actually made a pretty good dent already in Mothered, and I am on page 76. And I'm probably about 30% of the way through, about 25 to 30%. It's only 300 pages. So I should be well over like a third of the book by the end of today because I will read more still today. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, while I like voluntarily picked this book, I was still a little bit apprehensive about it because just some of the stuff that the synopsis says, I wasn't sure if I'd really be into it. It takes place during the pandemic and I didn't know how I would feel about that. It doesn't bother me like I thought it would. It's very realistic to how a lot of the situations played out. And it like plays into the storyline because like why else would she be stuck at home with her mom? And it just like kind of makes sense. So that part doesn't bother me like I thought it might have, but it doesn't. There's also like an aspect, these aren't spoilers because they're on the synopsis, but there's an aspect of like catfishing, which is still a little bit weird. And like we haven't gotten too deep into it yet, but like it has already been mentioned. So I'm just like interested to see how that's going to play out because I feel like it might tie into the story somehow and not just be kind of like random. I'm hoping it actually ties into everything that's going to go down. So I was a little apprehensive going into it, but I am really enjoying it actually. I really like the writing, so that's a plus. And also the prologue, I'm like iffy with prologues, but this prologue was really good. Like as soon as I read this prologue, I was like, okay, like this is gonna be a good book. I will say like Daughter of No Worlds, the prologue of Daughter of No Worlds was like so stupid and pointless and like confusing and didn't make me excited to read the rest of the book. I was just like, okay, moving on. Like let's just start the story because that prologue was so pointless. If you're gonna have a prologue, make it good. And I am really enjoying the whole mother-daughter dynamic. I mean, I already knew that like I like that dynamic exploration, so that's not really surprising, but it is really good and I find it very relatable in a lot of ways. Their dynamic is very much somewhat distant, where they talk maybe once a month, and growing up it just wasn't a very warm, cuddly environment. And there's this other area of contention that has to do with a twin, like Grace's twin sister that had cerebral palsy. So there's this added dynamic where also Grace, she has like conflicting and confusing emotions and feelings towards her sister when she was like little too. So the dynamics themselves are interesting. I'm enjoying the character dynamics. So her mother has moved in with her, and now some weird things are kind of happening. Now that her mom's with her, it's started to trigger a lot of her memories growing up. So she's now kind of having these like memories, these moments where she's thinking about these things that happened when she was little that were in themselves also a little bit off. Her sister was a little bit strange in a lot of ways, and we're getting little glimpses into that. But at the same time, some of these memories seem distorted and she doesn't know if they're true memories. She's having some weird dreams. So she's starting to lose a little bit of connection with like what is a true memory and what is something I'm misremembering or something that was a dream. So that is creating some interesting conflicts within our main character's mind. So I'm like really interested. I'm surprised I've already read so much. It is reading very, very fast, and I'm definitely interested. I'm looking forward to getting back into this later tonight. Right now I'm very optimistic. I'm very excited. I'm very intrigued, and I think something happened with her sister, and I don't know. I don't know. But I'm excited to continue reading, so I will update you guys when I can. So I have a book mail that I want to open with you guys. I ordered a book through Pango Books, and I'm not gonna lie, I may have jumped the gun on this one. It is a newer translated book that recently came out, and I haven't heard anybody talk about it yet except one person. I just heard talk about it, and I don't know if I'm gonna like it now. So, well, let me show you what it is. So I ordered Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez. So here's the deal. First of all, this cover is beautiful. I love this cover so much. But it's huge also. I didn't realize how chunky of a boy this was. It is 588 pages. It's pretty chunky. So it sounded really interesting, and it's like supposed to be a horror book, but I recently listened to somebody talk about it who read it, and while she did like it, the way she was explaining it, I feel like it's going to be a little bit more literary horror, and it's set up almost like short stories. I don't want to say like short stories, but kind of. I think that there's a lot of jumping back and forth in different stories. So I don't know how I feel about it now, but I already bought it. So yeah, the premise is a young father and son set out on a road trip devastated by the death of the wife and mother they both loved. United in grief, the pair travel to her ancestral home where they must confront the terrifying legacy she has bequeathed. The woman they mourn came from a clan like no other, a centuries-old secret society called the Order that commits unspeakable acts in search of eternal life. It says, a woman's mysterious death puts her husband and son on a collision course with her demonic family. So, I mean, it does sound good, but man, this is big. And I don't know, we'll see. It looks like it's split up into 6 parts. So that might be kind of what she means by short stories. Like it might be that. It looks like they're all in different time periods. If you have read this book, please let me know what you thought of it, because I'm going to need some major motivation to get into this book, honestly. It's a little intimidating. So I know I said I would update you guys when I was like 2/3 of the way through Mothered, but I finished it. So final thoughts. So Mothered by Zoya Stage. I finally figured out how to say her name, and it's Zoya. I'm an idiot. So please ignore anytime I have said it incorrectly because I'm stupid. But it is Zoya Stage. So my thoughts. It started off so strong. Like I really do love the writing style of it. I like Zoya's writing itself. But I will say at the like halfway mark, it really started to plateau, and I just really expected it to just really go there and get to a really bizarre, super exciting climax, and it like didn't. So it was like disappointing in the end in a way. The first half, I loved it. I was getting like 5-star vibes. But yeah, second half really just didn't do as much as I wanted it to do. Did really enjoy a lot of aspects to the book. I really enjoyed the mother-daughter relationship exploration, and then there's also an element of sister relationship explored where one of the sisters is disabled, so it also ties in this kind of caretaker aspect. I did really enjoy the bizarre imagery that was in the book. Like I said, I just was hoping it'd be a little bit more bizarre by the end. I ended up giving it 3 because it was like 50% of it I really enjoyed, 50% of it was kind of meh. So for me, I gave it a 3. So there's that. So then, I never told you guys, but I am also simultaneously reading Ice Planet Barbarians by Ruby Dixon. This is not my typical type of book at all. This is a alien smutty romance. I started it a while ago, like maybe 2 weeks ago. It is a very slow progressing book for me because I'm not really necessarily in the mood for this type of a book most of the time. I'm probably about a third way through. And yeah, it's just a slow one for me. I just kind of pick it up on nights that I feel like it. It's okay. Like it's nothing, it's pretty much what you expect it to be. But it is really funny, and it's like fun in the moment. And yeah, so there's that. And then next, I did already start, but I'm only 30 pages in, to Air of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. It's the 3rd book, but it is the 3rd book, but it's the 4th book if you include Assassin's Blade in the Throne of Glass series. So I'm super excited to jump back into this world. It's not going to be in this vlog. This is the end of the vlog for now. I just want to let you guys know where my reading is heading. And yeah, so that's that. If you made it to this point in the video, leave me a scissors emoji so that I know. I truly appreciate you guys spending some of your time with me. Please give the video a like, subscribe if you haven't yet for future content, and all the fun YouTube things that help your girl out. And I will catch you guys on the next video. Bye.